We don't pray to God anymore. We pray to celebrities. Not because they are divine, but because they are available. They sell us emotion as salvation, and their followers defend them with the fury once reserved for blasphemy. There is a kind of devotion abroad in the land that makes medieval piety look almost relaxed. It isn't about God anymore. God, poor old thing, is far too abstract. But about something closer to home, better lit, and infinitely more available. That's the pop idol. In this new religion, Taylor Swift is high priestess, confessor, and redeemer in one. And like all religions worth their incense, hers comes with a well-trained order of inquisitors, sworn to protect her from blasphemy. I met one recently. She arrived in my comments section bearing all the zeal of an early Dominican friar. "Your jealousy is showing," she began, a prelude worthy of Torquemada. "Your attempts at sounding wise while nipping at the ankles of somebody who is a cultural icon and whom millions turn to for emotional soothing through her art is sad to watch." The tone was almost touching in its certainty, its sense of moral vocation. Later, she advised with pastoral concern that I should seek therapy so that I can understand the limits of my wisdom. The charge in sum was heresy. I had criticized Taylor Swift, not insulted her, mind you, not launched a slanderous campaign or wished her ill. I had written, calmly, even admiringly, about the calculation in her work, the corporate precision of her emotional candor. To my inquisitor, this was unforgivable. To suggest that a pop star's confessions might be rehearsed, constructed, perhaps even strategized, was to attack emotion itself, to profane to the holy of holies. This is modern worship. Swift is not alone in inspiring it, but she is its purest expression. An artist who has converted autobiography into sacrament and fans into congregants. She sells not songs, but feelings, not melody, but the illusion of mutual recognition. When she sings, "It's me, hi, I'm the problem," millions murmur the response, "So are we." She has replaced the priest's absolution with the influencer's empathy, and her fans receive it like grace. What fascinates me isn't the art, but the protection racket around it. Music criticism, my accuser wrote, is the most valueless of endeavors. You are literally standing outside someone's internal experience, the emotion that is evoked through art, and condescendingly telling them why what brings them comfort or joy is less valuable. The irony is delicious. To analyze a song is to stand outside, feeling. Yet she feels no similar qualm about standing outside my essay to psychoanalyze me. Her comments are full of language of the therapeutic age, jealousy, insecurity, toxicity. Criticism is recast here as pathology, disagreement as trauma. It's a curious inversion. The artist, once the challenger of norms, has become the emotional caretaker of her audience. And the critic, once the guide through art's ambiguities, has been demoted to moral offender. To interpret is to wound. There was a time when art, like religion, expected argument. The painter courted scandal, the novelist sought outrage, the composer aimed for dissonance. The conversation between artist and critic was often brutal, but fruitful. It produced standards, schools, even revolutions. But we no longer live in that dialectical world. We live instead in the economy of identification. Swift's listeners do not admire her. They inhabit her. She is their avatar in the marketplace of feeling. It is mystical in the truest sense of the word. They expect her to appear on the road to Damascus, from inside a hot shrubbery, her face, perhaps, on a burnt piece of toast. Hence the need to defend her. When a fan writes, "I think you should look within yourself and ask why you put so much time into making Taylor the loser of a competition you created," they are really saying, "You've made me feel small." The protection of Swift becomes self-protection. Her billion-dollar agency is translated into personal vulnerability. To question her is to threaten the listener's own sense of being understood. The absurdity of this defense cannot be overstated. Taylor Swift is a global corporation wrapped in the perfume of intimacy. She commands more market power than most publishing houses, and yet her devotees rush to shield her from a mild essay, as if she were a trembling undergraduate with a guitar. This is not empathy. It's displacement. The fan mistakes the magnet for the martyr. That confusion between power and pain is the signature of modern worship. Our gods must suffer, or at least appear to. They must bleed prettily on stage and on Instagram, confess sins that flatter our own, and then sell us redemption at the merch table. Swift's genius lies in having perfected that loop. She monetizes vulnerability while radiating control. What her defenders cannot allow is the acknowledgement of that control, because it ruins the spell. You said a lot of words to feign intellectual counterpoint when all you're saying is that she's calculated. Another commenter wrote, precisely, calculation is the forbidden word because it implies artifice, and artifice implies distance, and distance in this new faith is sin. We are meant to feel as she feels, unmediated, unreflective. To notice the frame is to break the picture. But art without artifice is therapy, and therapy, however useful, is not art. The critic's job, if the species still do exist, is to restore that distinction, to remind us that the sincerity can be staged and that emotion to become art must pass through form. To call this misogyny, as one correspondent did to me, is to confuse gender with genre. It is no more misogynistic to analyze Taylor Swift than it is to analyze Jane Austen. The crime is not in being male, but in being unenchanted. What's tragic isn't that fandom behaves this way, it's that the culture encourages it. The digital age has turned admiration into identity. We no longer merely like things. We are the things we like. To question the object of devotion is to unmake the self. Thus, online, the smallest critique provokes theological fury. And yet there's something poignant beneath the noise. These worshippers aren't stupid, they're lonely. The world once gave them churches, communities, public rituals. Now it gives them pop stars and algorithms. Swift's music is not the cause of their devotion, but its symptom. She fills a vacancy that institutions left behind. My inquisitor ended her sermon with this. Every artist, writer, singer, and poet who has ever sold their work would likely disagree with you. It just means that artists, like everyone else, need to make a living. Quite right. Artists must eat. As a composer, playwright, essayist, I'm no stranger to the empty stomach. But one can make a living without demanding to be worshipped. What's curious and sad is that the fans seem to want it that way. They crave not just the song, but the consecration. The new worship is cashless and godless, but it burns just as hot. The hymns are chart toppers, the incense digital, the miracles algorithmic. And when you question the faith, the faithful assemble, armed with hashtags and moral indignation, to defend their immaculate idol from the most terrifying of adversaries, a person with an opinion.